What's good, y'all? Welcome to my review for episode 20 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean. Another phenomenal episode. I was laughing out loud constantly like this. There are so many moments. And this is probably the biggest, and this is probably just because of the fact how the series released. There were so many memeable moments in this episode that I'm sure would have been huge memes, and people would have been like saying like, "Oh, JoJo out of context," and pick these scenes in there. But obviously, we haven't seen much of it because of the whole release schedule's been doing it with on Netflix. But bro, there were just so many hilarious moments in the episode, man. And yeah, let's just jump right in. So we start this episode off. We actually get like the full details right before the OP starts playing of what happened to FF. And basically, you guys know that I mentioned in the last video that my theorized that like somehow off screen he like bit her jaw off. But what it said was it was actually just his spit, and his spit I guess melted off her jaw, or at least where her jaw should be, causing her to look like she does now. And she was questioning whether or not she should go after Jolene or not, but she has mission to assassinate DNG, and then where she ends decide to just go back inside and assassinate him. We get back with Yayama, Jolene, and Anastasia. Anastasia tells him to stop by this grove, and once they get there, he tells him to turn off the engine, but he doesn't. Which actually, at first, I thought this might have been some weird audio glitch because you could still hear the engine revving even though he told him to stop it. And I was like, is this an audio glitch? Because no one's like directly acknowledging it. But then Anastasia tells him, hey, I told you to turn off the engine. So he can actually hear the engines of the other boats coming out from the prison, obviously looking for them. Which eventually they come in there. They of course got their fucking big ass heavy mounted machine guns on there, ready to turn them all into Swiss cheese. So then they decide. So then they decide to like stop, hide, and make sure no one catches them. But then of course Yayama gets somehow stuck in the steering wheel. His head gets like pierced by it. I don't know how he got there in the first place. And then you have Anastasia having to kick him off the damn steering, like get off the damn steering wheel. And it's because he's causing all these waves, and then the guards start to notice some waves coming in there behind the grove. Obviously, they go and investigate. They're like, "Oh shit!" And he's like, "Relax. They found us yet. If they would have already been a hail gunfire." So then Yayama actually makes himself useful and actually comes out with a pretty clever idea where he starts to cover up the boat with various leaves from the trees around them to camouflage it. And after he gets the boat there, he takes the sap out of the trees, puts it on Jolene, and starts like planting the leaflets right on her to obviously camouflage everybody and make them all one with nature. And they manage to pass the guards. The guards kind of go past them. They don't see them. And then they get on the intercom. Hey, get back. Everyone retreat back. Everyone retreat back to the disciplinary center right now. So, and by this point, both the boats of them are like right in front of where Jolene and Anastasia are. They're right in front of their boat. So of course, once they turn the engine back on, it's on full throttle. Boom! All the leaves start flying everywhere because of the wind, and of course they get caught. So after they get caught, they obviously turn right back around and start unleashing a hail of gunfire as they all try to figure out what to do. As they all try to get away, he tells Anastasia says Yayama to get the engine start right, but they don't have time because it'll take too long. They'll already be dead by that point. And then as they're trying to figure out what happens, you see both Jolie and Yayama and Anastasia both have their back turned to Yayama. Yayama uses opportunity to then open his mouth. These mosquitoes start to come out there, and they start sucking on Jolene's blood. Afterwards, the guards got all their shotguns pointed at them. They're like, "Don't move! What shit did you pull at the disciplinary center? Get on the ground now!" And then Anastasia, of course, moves around. He's like, "Hey, do you want to die?" And then they all just open fire with the machine guns and their shotguns. And so then Anastasia punches Yayama, which sends him through the propeller, which then pushes him into one of the boats, which causes the machine gun. Yes, this was very intricate. The machine gun then downward as it's firing, basically shooting up the boat, causing that to sink, leaving one more boat alive, which is the one they're going to be stealing and obviously continuing their journey. And Anastasia tells them, "Get off the boat now. Hopefully you guys swim to safety quickly," as the alligators are hunting. Then we get back. Then they cut to when they're all driving the boat once again. You got Yayama piloting it as well, and he's whistling, and Jolene tries to talk, but nothing. But she kind of comes up like a whisper. And Anastasia tells her, "Hey, can you stop whistling, Jolene? I find it irksome, and I want it to be so he can, and also he wants to hear to make sure he can hear the engines of any more guards that show up." And Jolene tries to tell them it wasn't me, but nothing comes out. It's just like that's what she sounds. And I gotta say, major props to the sound team for this one. I really dug the sound design for this part of the episode when Jolene can't really talk and you just have her subtitles. Kira's performance here I thought was also really good. I don't know if she's actually saying the line. I don't know if she's actually saying the lines, but like in a super like whisper. It didn't seem like it. She was. I mean, there were parts where I'm like I can kind of hear the words, but other times I'm pretty sure she's just like saying whatever into the mic. But whatever the case may be, I thought the sound design during this part of the episode was really well done. So she tries to talk to Anastasia, but he's not listening. He says, Anastasia, can you hear me? I can't hear. My voice, it's not coming out. And also, I gotta say, F's for people who have that like fear of circles. I forget what the phobia was called, but you guys remember like there's this phobia where people have of like holes, but it's like in parts where they don't belong. Like you can like if you search up on Google, you find like this plant that people Photoshop into people's hand to make it look like there's giant holes in their hands or fingers or face or whatever the case may be. It is kind of freaky, to be fair. I don't have that fear because otherwise I probably would have been hard to get through this episode if I did. But yeah, I feel bad for people that have that fear because I'm sure this episode was a bit of a harder watch to get through because half the episode you just see Jolie and Anastasia with holes in their face, in their head, in their tongue, in Jolene's case. But so anyway, she tries to communicate with Anastasia about that that her voice is gone. But Anastasia, of course, he doesn't hear any of this, and he thinks this is Jolene's like trying to confess her love to him. Like, yes, Jolene, you lost the words. You now know how I feel. And then she starts pointing towards her tongue, be like, yes, not my eyes, look at my tongue. And he's like, oh, do you want to kiss? And so he tries to kiss her, and and then this man goes into his inner cockyard for a hot second. He's like, yes, let us kiss where our tongues do the tango. And literally has his tongue sticking out and then like moving around. Like, I instantly thought of cockyard doing the I don't know if any of y'all thought of cockyard in this scene, but I did. And of course she uppercuts him when he starts to get close. And then Jolene then like picks up his face, once again making it seem like to Anastasia that she wants to kiss him. He puts his hand on the back of her hand, and then she's like, Jolene, do you want to kiss? And then she just starts snapping his neck in multiple directions for some reason, and having her look back at him, then snapping it again. I don't know what she was doing. She also reminded, you thought Jolene was trying to be a chiropractor during this scene. Which, funny enough, I've actually been seeing a lot of like YouTube shorts of like chiropractors like snapping, of like, popping necks or whatever, which honestly, guys, like the sound is pretty satisfying to hear, you know what I'm saying? But yeah. Anyway, she's like snapping his neck in multiple directions. He's like, Jolie, I'm confused. Do you want to kiss or not? The memes you could have gotten out of this scene are endless, bro. There are so many memes you could have gotten out of this one scene, but alas, there are none. At least that I've seen anyway. They're nowhere on my Twitter. So and then she starts to examine Anastasia some more, like moving his eye up. And he's like, "I'm confused. Does this mean you prefer more other types of proclivities or whatever he said?" I googled the word and I'm like, I still don't know what the hell it's up. And he says like, "Do you wish to kiss like a contortionist?" Honestly, this scene was fucking hilarious, bro. I honestly kind of wish I did a reaction to this episode because of how much of all the funny shit that there is in this episode, but I ended up not doing it. Anyway, so she eventually turns her back to Yayama, thinking that probably if he turns her back to him, that could trigger his automatic attack, since we know he's an automatic attack stick. She turns it back to him, and that's when Yayama starts to get closer to him. It's like, "My name is Yayama, don't you forget it." And then this dude kind of tells us the benefits of frog skin. And he says licking frog skin could give you superior hydration. If I could use them, if I had 10 of them, I could turn them into a miniskirt. If you would let me, I would be honored. They can make your legs look long, your calves look full, and your butt look perky. And the way he said that, bro, when he was talking about her butt and making it perky, no lie, even me as a guy, even that started to give me the creeps, bro. Seriously, shout out to whoever voices Yayama on the dub. His performance was fantastic. So shout out to his VA, man, because this dude's fucking creepy, bro. Especially this one scene. So then she then starts to cover Anastasia's eyes, obviously making it so that they're both susceptible to attacks. Yayama once again opens his mouth, and then that's when Jolene activates a Stone Ocean, saying that she used the threads all over her skin and looked for anything that attacked her, which is when she finds the mosquitoes, thinking that that's done the attack, but it's not, because more holes start to appear in her, including on her eye, which I'm shocked her eye is even still around. We see like liquid coming out of it, which I'm thinking is supposed to be Yayama's mucus, because the same thing also happens with Anastasia. After this happened with Jolene's eye, and then he's like, "Oh, do you wish to fight one-on-one, as the expression goes, or do you want me to continue driving to suppose save?" And this man just punches through his mouth, which also the shot itself looked pretty badass. To be fair, man, looked really fucking cool, man. Then as we start to see holes appear on him, and like this liquid coming out, which I'm assuming is supposed to be Yayama's saliva. Anyway, Anastasia tells Yayama to go into like the right corner of the boat. And he's like, okay, then now. And once he gets there, he like steps on him and tells him to empty out his pockets and show him everything he has. He's like, okay, I have 2 beetles, 2 packets of sugar substitute, 2 used matches, and a karaoke mic. That's all, I swear. And so after he like empties out his pockets, showing everything he has, once again he punches him around some more, and of course more holes start to appear on Anastasia. This is when Jolene starts to wonder if maybe it's his spit that's the reason what's causing this, judging because of like the foam coming from the boat and everything, and then splashing all over the place. That could be the reason. So then Anastasia tells him to get back on the boat and speed it up. And he's like, and Joey's like, no, don't do that. What do I make it worse because of the spray and everything? And then right when Anastasia, or when Yaya was about to go up, he starts acting like a frog. He gets up like a frog, starts hopping around like a frog, and he like one of the beetles he has there, he like uses his tongue to grab it just like a frog. He just starts acting like a frog, just randomly. Anastasia then starts saying that he's no longer a threat because of how much he's acting like a frog, and like he keeps moving. And then like also, one thing that's just bizarre, which I guess is fitting for JoJo, is the fact that Yayama just like hops right into the fan. He just like dives right into it, man. And then he of course gets like all messed up by the propeller before he gets like thrown back out there. Don't know what that was about. He keeps jumping around, hopping like a frog. He notices the birds, like, birds, I must hide. And that's when Anastasia now tells us that he basically took one of the frogs that Yayama had and basically fused it with his brain, and then basically just connected the two, so making into like his pursuit responder or whatever it was, basically causing him to just act like a frog rather than killing him. So he's just basically just turned him into a frog, basically. And then Yayama remembers what his goal was. He's like, yes, I will put some plastic near to the propeller to cause some static electricity, and then use my spit to use it to take him out. There's no way he could see that coming. Once again, the birds show up. He runs around and hides from it, and ends up pissing himself just like a frog. Then he notices one of the other frogs, I guess it's a female, like, ooh, what a nice body you have. And then starts chasing after the frog, bro. It's ridiculous, bro. It's absolutely ridiculous, bro. And he like eats one of the other beetles, and man looks happy as a clam now. Anyway, that's when we head back over to the prison. The guards find D and G, and they start to like get him up, get him prepared for the medical team to take care of. While FF is hiding behind like a pillar or whatever, and is right about to shoot him. Right when she notices that her Father Pucci is there as well. We get back to Father Pucci, and he's back there counting the prime numbers. Like, yes, he is within a mere hairspray of death. I must get to him quickly. And he goes on about how his plan is going into action, because of course he saw the bone. He needs to get his disc to know what he saw. And then he grabs a legitimate CD, not like one of the stand CDs we've been getting, a legitimate music CD that plays music, and shoves it into the head of Survivor. Of Juicio, excuse me. And then he just starts playing this old opera song. I think it's from like the composer was called Tango or something. I'm sorry, I don't listen to this type of music. I've obviously heard this song, and I'm like, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. And it's playing while of course Father Pucci's like conducting, like, yes, such a masterpiece, man. I'm sure Young was having the time of his life recording this scene, bro. He was also probably laughing his ass off when he saw the footage of what the shit actually looked like, because of just how absurd it is. As Father Pucci's like, yes, this is the peak of music, a true magnum opus. So the guards load him up. They say the medical team will take care of him. They'll question him after they're done, fixing him up. Father Pucci says, okay, well, I gotta do it before they question him, as losing this miracle would make me very, very unhappy. And so right as the guards load him up into the ambulance, we notice that one of the people loading up into the ambulance is of course FF. And right as the rest of the medical team and everyone gets to get away and get in the ambulance or whatever, she summons her FF gun and points it at D and G. And then she starts firing at, but of course she misses. because one of the other guards has a CD in them and tries to stop her. She managed to get him off the boat and get him off the ambulance, and right before she's about to shoot him again is when Father Pucci approaches her. And so then that's when FF realizes that Pale Snake is the stand for Father Pucci. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where the episode ends. Phenomenal episode as always with part 6, man. This episode had me laughing my ass off constantly from the absurdity of JoJo. You love to see it, man. Anyway, guys, overall I give this episode a 10 out of fucking 10, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you like, if you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Fling, links down below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time.
You